Hello everybody and welcome to the stream. Sorry for a bit of a late start. I had to give everything a quick reboot because things were moving kind of sluggish. But we are up and ready and we are good to go with part 4 or trial 4, case 4 of the Great Ace Attorney. I've had a few different things happen actually since last session. I got my keyboard replaced. I mentioned in another stream that we played Among Us and the clattery coming over. I got my old keyboard here. Nice mechanical keyboard. Comes up on the mic a little too much. Here's the new keyboard. You might not even be able to hear it at all over me talking and the background music, and that's exactly how I want it. We might be doing a collab of Town of Salem coming up in the near future. That's going to be a lot of fun. So look forward to that. I'm still trying to edit the Among Us video. It's been a busy week, but I'll get around to that eventually. But yeah, I got the new keyboard, so now it'll sound when I'm playing games that actually require it. Thankfully, this wasn't one of them in the first place. It was only really an issue on Terraria and that Among Us collab. It wasn't really an issue on any of the other games I play because it's either a mouse with this or controller or whatever. But now it'll sound like I'm actually a professional streamer who's playing a game and not sounding like I'm also, in addition, writing an angry letter to my statesman circa 1972 on a friggin' typewriter. So, that's nice. It's been a busy day today, too. I just got back from seeing all my clients. Lots of weight loss people. I was reminded of an anecdote. Sometimes it's nice to give people the hypnotic suggestion that anytime they're about to eat something, they cut it in half first to get smaller portions and just see if they can eat a half portion first, and then afterwards, if they're still hungry, just being mindful of that and deciding, okay, maybe I'll have another thing instead. You got to be careful, though, because the person I first learned about that idea from, or I think one of the people that taught me about it, said that he'd been doing it for a while, but then he did it at some convention or as some example at a hypnotherapy training thing, which I'm going to be helping out at in a couple of weeks, by the way. And he gave a woman that suggestion just as an example, demonstration sort of thing, as they were talking about helping with weight loss. And then when they all went for lunch, everyone was laughing at this woman getting really frustrated at trying to eat her soup. Yeah, you know, knife and fork cutting soup in half don't work so great. And you laugh at that sort of thing happening, but, you know, people do things without really noticing all the time. One of my favorite examples, there was a time not too long ago, I went to get some coffee. And I used to use a refillable mug. Well, I still use a refillable mug. But back then, you could hand the refillable mug to someone and they would fill it and give it back to you. You know, you can't do that anymore because of all the malarkey going on. But I had to laugh because this one time I had given this fella my refillable mug, and of course the lid that came with it. And he refilled, he put the coffee in the mug, and it took him a solid 15 seconds to figure out why his disposable cup lid wouldn't fit on my travel mug. And he was in a trance, man. He was just doing what he always did. It never occurred to him. It's like, oh, this is a travel mug, right. And then he put the actual lid on. But me and my buddy had a good laugh about that, and it's really an example of how people just do things without noticing. You see people do some dumb stuff, and you think, are they not really paying attention? But you know what? Half the time, people are going through life in a trance. And that's why I'm going around hypnotizing people. It's like, hey, you can't be trusted to think for yourself, man. You're going to hurt yourself. Let me do that for you. But anyway, enough anecdotes. Let us get right into the fun and the games. Let us get into the Great Ace Attorney. And we are starting, like I said, a new case. We're going to be getting into the adventure of the clouded KOKORO. What does that mean? I ain't got a damn clue. But we're going to find out. And we're going to get right into it because I love this game and I want to play it right now. Let's do it. Incidentally, I've been going back and doing some of the achievements in the earlier episodes. I'm going to try to get a few achievements in this chapter too because I'm a bit of an achievement whore.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed.
I'm still finishing up my lunch here. Don't mind the chewing.
That there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Oh dear.
To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back.
Oh.
Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Dun dun dun. Let us get into it. We're back here. So for those of you who don't remember, we finished the last case winning it. But gosh darn it, for some reason, one of our key pieces of evidence, namely a giant carriage, caught fire and burned down. And wouldn't you know it, there was someone in it. Ain't that gruesome? We don't know who yet, but if I'm not mistaken, we're going to find out soon. I mean, if you saw the case, you could probably take a guess. But hey, what a way to go, you know? We won the case, but, well, I ain't going to spoil nothing. Let's just get into it. Ah, yes, voices. Why does this take me by surprise every time I stream this thing? Did you sleep well last night, Naruhodo-san? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, it felt like we were staying in a palace, and it cost us all our money. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Burya, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, now we're broke. Yep, that's what I thought. When I learned that we owed £3 for the room, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. Damn! I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Yeah, this fella. I don't remember what accent I gave him. Good morning to you at this early hour. I'll just be deep. Sup, strong heart, male, guy person, whatever your dumbass name was. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Suzato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. What did I say? Strong arm? Strongheart, yeah. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Hell, we knew more about their practices than they did. Summation examination, bitch! Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Naruhodo-san performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. I have released doves in your honor. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern island. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. That was easy. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? I guess I should be checking my levels. Hopefully this is all coming across well. Hang on a second. Maybe I should actually pay attention to my audio for once and not have it on mute for 20 minutes like I did that one time. Pardonnez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Good enough. I am happy. I've heard enough. I'm satisfied. On with the show. The culpability of the defendant has not at present time been established by this court. We don't know if they're naughty or nice. Hey, Jose. Thanks for joining us. Hope your stream goes well tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me while you get ready. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks. Oh, I get to do my crazy, steely English, Irish accent again. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't ask for a better defence. Come lick my glow pop in appreciation. Ah ha ha ha. Ah ha ha ha. This is how we laugh. A jolly Irish. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Thanks, Jose. I appreciate that. Naruhodo-san. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. In the other games, we find out who the guilty party is. How come that didn't happen for me? And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. I'm going to make that stream chat a little bit bigger. That's readable enough. Yep, little Irishman passed away immediately following the trial. No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? Yes, I released doves in his honor. I do that. I have like boxes of these things. I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Watch the stream time, guys. He's going to cut us off. Dun 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 dun. McGilded's deaf. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime Mr. McGilded had been accused of. For some reason, the chat messages keep getting retracted. I have no idea why, but anyway. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No! How could such a thing have happened? We are very irresponsible. That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful! So yeah, dude got burned alive. Probably should have got his money from him before that happened. Oh well. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Basically, we know nothing. Even though I was bragging about how awesome we were earlier. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. He did. Oh, I get to talk like a funny little man some more. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Oh, that was the wrong voice. Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. Jay, welcome to the stream as well. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. Talk to the flusher handle. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. And my flusher handle. Poor Mr. McGilded. British court. Your court kind of sucks, dude. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow! Very eloquent. Naruhodo-san means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Suzato-san has a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Stop reading my mind. I release doves in honor of how awesome I am. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate. The top of his little cane there, Jay, kind of looks like a flusher handle, like a toilet. So, I make fun of him whenever he sticks it in my face. It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? There wasn't even an investigation. What are you complaining about? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Heh heh heh. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. Also, Jay, this is my flesher handle. Check it out. What? And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent and my flesher handle. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. We're getting close to that 19 minutes, though, so out you go. Which is precisely why I've prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? What was he going to say before? Oh, I missed that. This guy's still got some secrets going on I got to figure out. Him and Asogi and a few other people. We got to figure out what's up. New case. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Well, you're half right. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. Oh, no, wait, I don't think this one actually is a murder, for once. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Mark. So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything all right? Oh, yeah, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. That was a shit show. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. More funny Irish accents? Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. What's going on here? I'm going to play with my little thingy here and see if I can get that showing up proper. No? Ah, now something's busted with my chat. What are you doing? We'll see if chat wants to start working again. I tried to fix something and now it vanished, so we'll see. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the outcome, blah, blah, blah. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Yeah, should be everything is set right. Well, of course, this is going to be weird now. Alright. I even set it back to the settings it was before, and it's not working again, so bugger me. Oh well. Here we go again! Oh, that's it. We're done. This dude's not going to wait around for me to fix my browser issues. Your time is up. Damn it. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. I love me some clocks. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. This is about Asogi, isn't it? What Kazuma was doing. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. Yep. I don't think we get any answers to this until the second game. I'm still in the dark as to what this is. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work toward that myself. And there's another thing. Oh? Another thing? Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? Race, race, race. He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightened discussion. Naruhodo-san, what's all this about? Is this the first you've heard of this? I thought I told you about this. Asogi-san never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I should have said Kazuma-sama. Oh well. Ah, this guy. Mr. Thumb for a Chin. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? With his fish and chips. So I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell. I don't know why that's not working. Alright. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama. What did you mean? Ah, I was right. It was Sama. I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. More racists. Alright, so this dude, again, we got to be different with our accents here. I know he's not actually Scottish, but I'm going to try giving him a bit more of a Scottish-leaning accent just because he's from Scotland Yard. I know Scotland Yard doesn't mean he's Scottish, but I need something. I need to give these people something to sound a little bit different. Can I just poke you? We're going to go thinking Sean Connery's 007, but that 007's nerdy younger brother. Let's see where that takes us. Sup, Mr. Fish and Chips? Could we trouble you? Also, where's your neck? Seriously, though. Alright. How are we doing this? Let's see. How would we talk like Sean Connery? I don't know. But we gotta do it. I don't know. We're just gonna make something up. He's going to have an accent from a different planet. Don't even worry about it. What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eat out of your hand, you know? But Suzuto told me it was foolproof. She got it out of a book of pickup lines. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? I haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? Nope, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? You wouldn't yell at a cute 16-year-old girl, would you, dude? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. Eh? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? Oh, of course it'll work for her. I just get thrown across the room. This guy gets to chat about the weather. It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Old Stronghearts asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector? Gregson? What's the matter with Suzuto-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Let us find out. Inspector, are you perhaps... By the way, this is another song I really like off this soundtrack. This entire soundtrack slaps, but every time a new song comes up, I'm like, yep, that's my favorite. Yep, that's my favorite. Yep, that's my favorite. The Inspector Gregson? You don't deserve a song this good. You're kind of an asshole. You're acting like you know this man, Susato-san, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact. Very well? Yes. He features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Holmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Holmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't really know about that. Mr. Holmes isn't a professional like myself, of course. But he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Holmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. You've earned? Earned? Can you do that with that word? Earned? Earned. More fun words. Earned. It's like if Ernie and Bert did a fusion dance. Earned. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all of Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. And that's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Holmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. Thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wants to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper. So I can't exactly catch what they're saying. But I know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. I'm stealing that. Sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. Yep. New option. Or next option. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Yeah, like the last case. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I'm pretty sure I've done like 5 different voices for this guy now, but I'm still trying to just figure something out. Or get used to it. I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Susudo takedown, wouldn't you? That is neither here nor there, Naruhodo-san. Brace yourself, Rinosuke. You've angered her now. She's been aggroed. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He's barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baron von Zieks. Not again! Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zieks. We kicked his ass yesterday. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. What? Did I mention we kicked his ass? Lord Baron von Zieks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGill had told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zieks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused as sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Doesn't bode well for me, but don't worry, I'm sure I won't burn to death in an omnibus or nothing. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that. Earned it. Earned. Dude, is that a word? Earned? I heard someone else say it, now it's my favorite word. I'm just going to keep using it. Earned. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates is found guilty. Is that it? I thought we already learned better than this. Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zieks, Naruhodo-san secured a verdict of not guilty. And what of it? Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. Did you already forget what happened to the Irish fella? No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Ah! Magnus McGilded came a cropper on that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zieks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that, if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? I mean, some crazy things are going to happen in the second case in order for that to stay consistent. I'm actually kind of curious if that happens, because if it does, at least one person is in some serious trouble. Right, well, I've filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips, even though it seems pretty friggin' infinite in my little newspaper. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We still carried out a few investigations there. That's not remotely Scottish, but I'm just going to stick with it to make him sound different from everyone else. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, madame. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell, he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer, and he'll show you the way. 53? Is that a Danganronpa reference? Inmate 53, thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper or the Bailey, they say. You're either guilty or you just explode on the spot. Is something troubling you, Naruto-san? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. In fact, he just told us that. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. I mean, we might. We should go check it out. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. It's kind of traumatic, dude. Should schedule a therapy session. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go. I would love to have released doves when I do that, but I can't do that because I can't do that. Where are we going? Are we going to... Oh, we got a choice. Let's start with Briar Road. Well, that's a road, all right. That's some folks, all right. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah, look, Naruto-san. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. It's a bobby. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. I read about them in my book. That's their job, you know? But Naruto-san, to see one with my own eyes. They're all, just like in my book. They're often depicted in The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet. Ah, they are called Bobbies. The helmet? You like the helmet? Yes, they've earned it. Hee hee, of course. I have to try one on one day. I'll have to have earned it by then, though. Well, I hope your Hattie dreams come true. Hattie Hattington. Now I'm imagining Susato with a top hat. I don't see Inspector Gregson anywhere. Probably getting some more fries and chips. Can we see if we can sneak past and investigate the scene of the stabbing? Why should we sneak? I don't want to upset one of those bobbies and be butted in the head by one of those metal helmets. My skull would crack in two, I'm sure. That's what they do, right? Oh, no, an English bobby would never do such a thing. This is a land of gentlemen, you know. Alright, what do we got to look at around here? I mean, we'll look at everything. Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. I'm just starstruck by everything. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows that I was about to suggest as a joke. Well, go commit a crime. This will be easy for you. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it. Yep. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious. You are Maya, aren't you? Hee hee, what a delightful snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy, though. Oh, it has a scarf, look. You'd need one if you're out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment, too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. Can I take that one? I've earned it. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. Yeah, there you go, see? But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yeah, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Alright. Sup? That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. Didn't like that last time. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. I've got PTSD now. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. Thanks. Does that mean you say, yep? How about this? This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it? That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding. Oi! What are you foreigners doing here? Huh? Oh, we're just investigating the scene, officer. Conspiring with that mustache fella from Japan, are you? Conspiring? Call me here to destroy evidence, have you? Get out of here before I give you an hiding. Go on. See? What did I tell you, Suzuto? He shoot us away like rats. Yeah, we should give him a wide berth, I think. What a disappointing experience. Alright. I think that's all of note around here. Kaboosh. Let's look over here, even though it technically has nothing to do with anything. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead. Oh, but you're rather small, Naruhodo-san, and dressed all in black. Our very coachman might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses. Not in the middle of the day. Me dressed in black, I'd stand out like a sore thumb. Like a sore Gregson. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. What do we got? We got a bike. We got bushes. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yeah, but they're all filled in with bricks. So, not windows. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where no one lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. Why do you people fill in your windows with bricks? I don't understand. This is strange to me. Everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. Bricks and windows, so innovative. Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Misshapen. Someone must be doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anybody would want to ride something like that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. That would be funny to watch. I guess we can take a look at this. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. Yeah, look at the edge. It's just jutting out. And I still don't get the bricks in the window thing. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. Can we just hide in here? Yeah, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Hey man, beggars can't be choosers. Am I done? Is that it? I didn't trigger nothing? I'm guessing something more interesting will happen when I come back. Let's go chat with our buddy. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Go Gadget prison cell. Oh yeah, this is actually our first time seeing this cell. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. It is a dungeon. I'm relatively certain we're underground right now. Yeah, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't Naruhodo-san. You're making it seem worse. I hate her sad eyes. They're so depressing. Apparently our client is invisible. It's not like he has anywhere to hide. Is he hanging from the roof? But it's so dark out at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Oi! MA53! Your legal representative's here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I... Oh. Right. Oh, this guy. Boy, we're gonna have to be flamboyant with this fella. Am I a cat, as yet with no name? Calling me by a number? It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Naruhodo-san, what do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? He is invisible. That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Yeah, there's Mr. Mustache. Excuse me, but who... Hey, shh, quiet! They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right. So, can I ask you... There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost? We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you... Japanese, by any chance? Oh, his eyes cleared right up. This is... beyond my wildest dreams! So my understanding... I mean, well, hang on a second. We'll get this guy's name. Forgive me for that outburst earlier. I'm so sorry. I want to make this guy emotional because he's a... Boy, he's a piece of work. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this dark, damp hellhole is most monumentally moving moment! Alright, Jojo, calm the hell down. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese and also insane? What compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon! First-class lawyer? Uh-oh, I think there's been a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can, I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent! I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yeah, he also seems like a few other things. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Just in case you need it spelled out that I'm not English. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Nobly, notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. Now, my understanding of this guy, like obviously one of the main things about this game that people would remember is the fact that Sherlock Holmes is in it. And of course, Sherlock Holmes being, you know, the famous fictional character that he is. This guy is apparently also a real person. I mean, Sherlock Holmes isn't a real person, obviously. But this guy was apparently an author, a Japanese author, at about the time, like alive at roughly the time this game is supposed to take place-ish, that era. So we've got our Tobias Gregson, we've got our Watson, who's been nicknamed to Wilson, we've got Sherlock Holmes, and we've got this fella. I'm curious if there's anyone in the second game that shows up too, but they are making this kind of a set-piece type thing with actual, you know, notable names. Obviously they had to rename all the Holmes stuff because Conan Doyle's estate loves to sue people even when they don't have a reason. But this guy, you know, he's still got the name, and yeah, interesting. He's an actual author. And I looked him up on Wikipedia. He kind of looks like this. There is not entirely lacking a resemblance to the actual man, but interesting. Anyway, moving on. All right, let's pick your brain, dude. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. It's Japanese! Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. Again, the real Soseki was an author. I hope I'm saying that right. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? Oh, crap. Something occurred to me, but now I can't say it. I'll bring it up later when it's relevant. That's right, Naruhodo-san. No! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku? That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Boy, that doesn't bode well for us. Yeah, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this is beyond the pale! Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No! What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. So, heard you killed someone. Could you please tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder! Murder? Oh, no, I mean, it's alright, the woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes! Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? Well, I mean, I didn't see anyone. What? I mean, I saw the person who did it. Do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Like we figured. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. How many poses does this guy have? The animators must have had a friggin' day with him. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker? It's vital that we find out more about the case. I feel like that's something that we could say at pretty much any moment in time and have it be accurate. Especially last case. It was an accursed evening. Just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and as I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too. Everything's cursed, it's London. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. An accursed woman, wearing a cursed green overcoat she was, and just as I was about to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed under the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. See, she was cursed. The knife just appeared in her back. How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish graveyard of one. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get out of there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Saseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that. I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman, unknown to Saseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was no one else on the street at the time. I'm just going to summarize everything you took like 10 minutes to say with all your dancing. This creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? Yep, we're screwed. What conundrum? Conundrum? That's a long English word, I don't know it. What do you mean, Sasada-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Saseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. Like, who did it? He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did! But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. Like, you did it, right? 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 Ah, you! What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Look at this guy. I love his animations. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little too loudly. This guy's like a tuning fork. He just picks up everything. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Saseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim, and there was no one else at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh yeah, she's right. That's like a thing that's true that we should probably be thinking about. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Accursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haunty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody, be gone! May you be cursed until the end of your days. Sherlock Sholmes! Pretty sure you mean Sherlock Holmes. Susato could show you her book. I knew it. Mr. Holmes! Do I get another option? I do get another option. No, this is Sherlock Sholmes, Susato. It's someone completely different. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. We're authors. We belong to the same networking groups. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils! Man, they're even racist against cheese in this universe. Good lord. You've clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Sherlock Holmes. It's actually just Sherlock Holmes. He's English. Again, Susato, lend him your book. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me? This weak, stooped kitten of a man? I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Did you see him use his Roomba? Did he use his spotlight powers on you? It's kind of neat, even if you're in a jail right now. I mean, the music's a banger. I mean, admit that. Do you mean to say that Mr. Holmes's deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, I mean, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling. They kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish, foreign, flabbery. This guy's great teeth. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point. Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do, and I'm fine." The next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew it, I was thrown in here. This reminds me of when Naruhodo was saying yes all the time in the first case. I kept telling him, don't do that, don't do that. See, look at Saseki. This is why you don't do that. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine. He's not fine now. Man, you just asked how you're doing, and you have to say that you're fine, but you know you're not really fine. You know. Yeah. Naruhodo, son, Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. Even though that means I see in Japanese. And while we're speaking English, a simple Mister is more than enough, even though Psy'Min keeps replacing all the Misters with Sans. Oh, yes, all right. They've really got to be this country's poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. Huh? What, student? I defended a case at the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. I'm just going to have an existential crisis here for you, if you don't mind. I'm going to make this about me now. That's okay, right? Oh, Naruhodo-san. See, we're not using Mister. Just say San. I'm not even the foreign student who's supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband! That's the mark of a defense attorney from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I'm just gonna vibrate a hole in the ground. Give me a couple of weeks. Never mind, I'm already out of energy. I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh? Who do you mean? The lawyers! Although the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why? Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, There was only the victim of myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Suzuki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say this man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. You think it's strange? Listen to the accent Simon's giving me. My God, who would listen to me? They all hate me. So at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Saseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do whatever I can, for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here all alone, waiting for you. Look, I'm student Mr. Naruto Esquire! We should be going then, Naruto-san. Esquire! We have a case to prepare for. Alright, let's leave the crazy behind. Go back here. We will probably have some new options. Hey! There's the thumb I was looking for. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Grayson. This isn't on the tourist trail, as far as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells then? Well, what do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. Well, we'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. The stone-cold air of rejection. Like every girl I ever talked to. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Hey, bud. Oh, is this the same options I had before? I don't think so. Tell me about Scotland. Why are we discussing this? Alright, let's just let Susanoo fangirl for a bit. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. I want to learn the lore. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. Can I borrow that one over there? Don't tell anyone I haven't earned it. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Also, why can't they see? This literally covers their eyes. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you. Oh, really? First thing in the morning. You know what he does? Goes around and rouses all the labourers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yep. Raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit. I had no idea. The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I
can't really imagine how far that is, because we use the metric system in Japan, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. No electricity, don't you see? We don't have that yet. Hasn't been invented. Oh my. And I suppose in between all of those duties, bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well. And chase after criminals trying to escape the law, evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, more alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle these jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
Still want to do it, Suzuto-san? I've always dreamed of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Naruhodo-san.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do.
At least we get to listen to this guy's cool music.
Happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago. Just over there, on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she was being treated in the hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes round pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's a map. It's yard policy to give lawyers defended suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I'm not a total asshole, not like that gumshoe guy.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We'll gratefully accept.
The local map, literally just this one square block. Most useless map in the history of the mankind. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the street other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Natsume-san is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around here, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that no one else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
There are witnesses now? There's always witnesses. Witnesses? Tell me about the witnesses. Who are these witnesses, Inspector? I just love saying witnesses.
A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respectable citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them banging the act and all.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like in court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So, that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that, then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
I only said I'd tell you a little info.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yeah, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too.
Oh yeah, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect, I heard that was Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The colors drained from his cheeks.
Man, I'm just getting loaded with options here.
I thought you were busy. A twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not? Well, makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though. Sorry? The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something to that effect. And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals. The violent ones. Master criminals? The violent ones? That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Natsume-san wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely? That's just my point, sunshine. Yeah, the young woman was stabbed. But it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? You think I can tell you what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'd have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial. Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he puts it? But he's so polite. Dun dun dun. Who did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Natsume-san who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Holmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. Laughing his ass off. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Holmes's inspirational great deductions. Fiddle faddle. Huh? Well, you just told us they had a witness. The man's an amateur. I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he tells us at the scene of the crime. Wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Well, yeah, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he? Gibble gabble! Is that a word? I just made it up. That's how upset I am. Ever seen this before? Oh, yeah, that's Rance Magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Holmes appears. Yeah, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the old detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any of Sherlock Holmes's tales at all. Well, I suppose there is an element of that. We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us as Scotland Yard as he is to all the other criminals. That can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. I feel like this is going to be a long stream. I feel like we're a ways from a to be continued. We might even get to the trial with the to be continued. I don't mind going long, though. I want to try to fit these in as much as possible and get this thing done so we can move on to other stuff. And also because I want to see what happens. I like this game. I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens next. What's the story? What's the story? What's the resolution? What's the plot twist? Can I make a suggestion? Oh, yeah, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. Yeah, we got to speak with Holmesy Holmes. By him, do you mean Mr. Holmes? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Exactly. Do you hear his theme music? Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait. I want a fangirl. Well, Natsume-san did blame Holmes for all of this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. which makes him an involved party in this case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. Okay, we'll go over there. Jeez. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Holmes again. Trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address even, so now it's Baker Street. Am I literally going to get thrown? Okay, no. I was going to say, of course she knows the address. How do you know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going now, I suppose. Better find our way there before Suzuto-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. I'm going to start busting out poses like the other guy did. Hooray, I'll summon a carriage. So we're to have a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Am I done with you? I'm done with you. A new location has been added. Thanks. I have eyeballs, so I can tell. Ooh, I got a cutscene. Yay! We took a carriage and didn't catch fire or nothing.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Good day.
Thanks again.
Good day. Good day. 221B.
That's it.
Good day.
The residence of Mr. Herlock's show.
Sherlock Holmes, say it right. Good day. That's some sparkling water. Good day. Oh, this is where my achievements are. Whoever's here, get out of my way. I need to click on things. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Is it as described in the story, Suzuto-san? Suzuto-san? Many famous cases. just look at her. Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yeah. I've never read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it! The romanticism! Can you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Naruhodo-san? Oh, I suppose I can. Yeah, sure, that's what that is. So if you don't mind, could you leave for a bit? I need to be alone. I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me. Yeah. She's obsessed. Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home right now. Excuse me, is anybody home? Okay, I don't even remember the voice I gave her. Oh, do we have a visitor? Hey, it's you again. Hello, is it a big new case for Mr. Holmes? Oh, hello. Hey, you look familiar. Wait, aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. I'll go make some tea at once. I'm sure it's the same girl. Suzuto-san, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? Whatever you said. This is my me time. Leave me alone. To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Holmes to take on his case. The King of Bohemia? This is what we call being in a trance. That. King Wilhelm Gostreich Sigismund von Ormestein, of course. What? Gesundheit, would you like a tissue? I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a moment. Look over there. The tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. I can't concentrate when this music is playing. Your theme song is terrible. Ah, it's you. I knew it. Suzuto-san recognizes her too. Flashback to the end of last trial. Ah, there you are. And take that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilden's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. Oh, yeah, it was, challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color? Why is it smoking? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Holmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Holmes to you, surely? Mr. Holmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think? Quick, check and see if she's standing on a Roomba. And perhaps more to the point, why is she here at Mr. Holmes' suite? Oh, silly me, I've introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley. Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name. Especially that last name. Give me a minute to remember where it comes from. What? What's the matter? No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? What's the matter with Suzato-san? Why is she flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. And what are your names? Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I was in a trance again. I'm Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Suzato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie? Runo? That's not even a name. At least Susie's a name. Hey, Susie. I'm going to call you Susie from now on. Shut up, Naruhodo-san. There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. I'm going to start by not asking you any damn questions at all. Let's go do other things. Let's go over here. Is there a violin? Where's the violin? I don't see the... There's the violin. Oh, I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. Mr. Holmes is renowned for his violin playing. Oh, really? Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Naruhodo-san. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find. I don't even know what that is. What the hell is a koto? What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London. Oh, yes. Well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he could buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. Wow, you suck! So now it's merely an ornament in my room. That must have been an awkward conversation. Let's see here. Blackboard. I think we click on this. Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter. What does that mean? Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Naruhodo-san? I'll come back to that blackboard later. Interesting. Let's look at other things. What on earth is this huge, over-the-top machine? That's the great analytoscope. It can analyze anything, really, anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things does he analyze with it? Do you know? Tell me, I must know. Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet. Oh. Why not? Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him. I don't actually have anything I need to analyze. Oh dear. How about you, Runo? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze? The one thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. Is it recursive? I'm not seeing anything. I didn't get my achievement, though. Maybe it'll come up later. Oh, wait, what? I thought I had not... Oh, there it is. I must have been just off. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help but feeling that the whole lot is going to topple over any moment. I keep telling Hurley not to cram so much onto those shelves. Good advice. He wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago. But it was so tightly wedged in he couldn't get it out, so he went and bought a new copy instead. Sounds Holmesy. Alright, well. Let's look at that. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate, it's so relaxing. We can't relax, not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as was described in the stories. It is. Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example. All my chocolates for 11s. And transfixed by that large jackknife is my shopping list for the market. Hey, Naruhodo-san. Yeah? Never meet your heroes. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Poor Suzato-san. She looks crushed. It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Is this where they're keeping the achievements that I'm not getting yet? It seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy lock. Naruhodo-san, you mustn't go around opening things. You haven't earned it. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Oh, that chest contains some of my most valuable things. And that smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue but what they are. Nope. Whatever. This side of the room looks boring. Let's talk to the little girl. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey. Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Yeah. Oh, you mean like this? Thinking back now. You left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Oh yeah, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Oh, Guinea. Yeah, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. It was very naughty of her to pick my invention like that. Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption? Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism into my inventions. This girl is dangerous. And pouty. Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician. Sorry, your technician? Hurley? Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Sherlock. Sherlock Holmes. We live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter. Daughter? Not likely. What? I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I? Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Holmes? I expected you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So, the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Your roommates? I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year. Well, what of your mother and father? Oh, no. They're not around. Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. Pretty sure you could speculate, numbskull. I wonder if I can go... Hang on. I need to leave you alone for a minute. Nope. Still not a thing. Well, I inspected stuff, so let's go with the Wilson option here. Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Okay, now we'll put two and two together, surely. Of course. Go ahead, Susie. I'm having trouble keeping a grip on her accent. I am a very great fan of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and... Oh, you have a copy of Ranced magazine? Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting! My stories are being read on the other side of the world. My stories? That's right. Hartley's always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came in. So you are the author? Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band. The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake being the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Holmes' first thought as well, actually. How did you know that? Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly. It's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say... Are the stories about Mr. Holmes that are published in Ranced magazine all written by me? Yes, on me wonderful and very modern typewriter. that Psy'Min just replaced with something that doesn't make such a bloody racket. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. Susanna-san's getting more and more worked up. My fandom's getting attacked. I cosplayed for this last year, damn it. Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? She looks so sad. All of Susanna's dreams are being crushed. That's all true, too. I'm a doctor of medicine. No, at 10 years old? At 10 years old. Well, that's quite incredible. But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. I'm literally going to start crying here. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Ah. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow. Phoenix, that's a jab at you. Stop hanging around pearls. I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart. Back to the goofy music. Your deductions just now. Show me your Roomba. About before. Yes, what's on your mind? Rudo, do tell me. How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean? Yes. Oh, and that we had a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please tell us, how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course. I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Safety goggles when you're riding the Roomba. Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular. I've got an Xbox controller built into my smoke gun. Welcome to Spotlight Land. This is my stand. First of all, I already knew that you were a lawyer, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that? I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket. Oh. So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in this country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me that you were unaware of London's court affairs. The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I? Then I noticed a red stamp on the back of Susie's hand. Where the hell was that during all the other animations? That just showed up now. That's cheating. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. They used those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see? Oh, I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. See, I am cheating. So, that told me that even though you'd only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus Begilded, the two of you had already caused to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you were wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case. I see. But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It's obviously amused him. He told me that he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling. A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume-san, Soseki-san. Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? It's actually the first time that word's come up in this game, which is kind of surprising. Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourself. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley's always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He's silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my TED Talks. Well, wasn't it a winner? Were my deductions correct? They were spot on. That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction. You even managed the certain something of Mr. Holmes's delivery. Oh yes, we have multiple Roombas. I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please? All of a sudden, Susado's found someone new to fangirl over. Boy, she bounces back quick. The case of the Japanese man. Can I get your autograph? So yesterday, Mr. Holmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying. Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after a sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene. Ah, the great detective's popular man, it seems. Apparently a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who'd seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Natsume-san, beyond any doubt. Soseki-san. See, I should be using Soseki-san, I guess. Soseki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all, but it seems there were witnesses after all. Hurley uses his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was at a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking stooped man, shivering in fear. Mr. Holmes's great deduction certainly hit the mark that time. Of course it did. He's a great detective. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow's too soon for the trial, isn't it? Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. We got more time than last trial, that's for sure. Hurley says that London is rife with crime. Oh, Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. We just decide things and hope for the best. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. Hey, you look funny. You're going to jail now. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system. I suppose it is, but in that case, it's not that great. I don't hold out too much hope for Suzuki-san. Thanks for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative. Oh, you're most welcome. I have had ever so much fun. I'm even doing a little pearly face with my hands on my face. Isn't that neat? Do you happen to know where Mr. Holmes is right now? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about the case as well. Oh, well. I expect Hurley's still investigating the scene. Of the case involving Natsumi-san, you mean? Yes, Mr. Nuts. Oh, Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Do you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson, were you there? Yeah, we know Inspector Gregson. Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this little gift from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know. What is this? A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. Iris's postcard's been put in my court record. I almost forgot I had that because we haven't used it lately. It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, that'll make the inspector help us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give this a try. Good luck, then. I'm going to return to write my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back anytime soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo-san, it's back to the scene of the crime. Shoryuken. Wait, I'm not going there automatically. I need to inspect things. So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. Quit glitching. We headed back to the scene where Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. But I hope I get to come back.
Do I just want to keep going? It's only been 2 hours. I want to boost through this. F it. We're going to go to the trial. I didn't stream yesterday, and I'm not streaming tomorrow unless some impromptu collab comes up, so let's just rock it. Okay, I don't actually care. I want to go back to the place and get my achievement. We'll see if I can. If I can't, then so be it. Whatever.
It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yeah, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave him for us. Sup, dude? We just listened for your theme music. Followed you. Can I go back here? Examine things. Going back here. Is this new? It is new. Oh, Iris is just chilling. Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas. Why are you guys back here? You just left. Black Peter. What does that mean? Oh, how intriguing. It must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my. I wonder what fantastic tale awaits us. Suzuki-san looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most grisly crime scene you can imagine. Have you played Danganronpa? It's a case that Hurley solved just recently. A black cat called Peter went missing on the neighborhood. Hurley tracked it down to the fishmongers in the end. Well, I can't wait for the story to be published, even though you just spoiled it for me. Give me this. I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. This is probably the same text. That's right. Oh, no. That is actually a new text. That's right. I just sort of slipped that in. You did what, Iris? I don't really give it a lot of thought, and I just started adding it in the stories. Yes, Mr. Holmes's exceptional violin playing has been mentioned a number of times. But the truth is, Hurley's barely touched a violin in his life up to that point. She looks so bored in that shot. Oh. Of course, people started asking him to play it for them after my stories were published. And he wasn't able to tell them that he didn't know how. What did he do? He went straight to the pawn shop and bought himself a very nice violin. And then he practiced. He practiced until his fingers very nearly dropped off. Must be why he's so high-strung. Punny. Before I knew it, he'd become rather good. The greatness of the great detective really shone with that experiment, or that experience, I think. It was a great deception, that's for sure. I still haven't gotten an achievement. Alright, well, we'll figure out how that works later. Let's do actual things now. I've been standing here waiting for you for 20 minutes. You got some nerve. Oh wait, we need to present. We do this so rarely. It seems so faded out. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Which is why I've been standing here for 20 minutes waiting for you. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure. We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? From me? For her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give that here, at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee. That's what it is. An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean... That's right. From the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me, every time. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I am sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know, that I... Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know? Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustached Japanese fella. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look. On the first floor of that house in the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Gerideb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector. We will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yeah, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. Wait. Can I do this, or do I just move? Hang on. There we go. I'm not sure if Gerideb is a pun on anything. I'll have to look that up later.
Oh, we're up here first. Oh, quick bite. Forgot a bit of food sitting here. Alright. At least my throat's holding out. I've been talking all day with clients, and now I'm talking all day doing this. At least I haven't lost my voice. Huh. What voice do we give Mrs. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? The Stay Puft Marshmallow Woman. I feel like she should get an exaggerated voice. May I help you? Yeah. Would this be the residence of, Mr. John Garadeb? Indeed it would, sir. And who, may I say, is calling? My name's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm, Naruhodo-san is representing Soseki-san Natsumi. I believe he's taking lodgings here. That was a fun face. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb. Did you see that, Suzato-san? That was a real-life English maid. They look cuter in the animes. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. I've forgotten all about my crushed dreams from earlier. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We now need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way. Here we go. I wonder if Garadeb is some pun on moon, because we clearly have the sun and the moon here, I think. Or maybe the phases of the moon. We got a full moon and a crescent moon. Wait, I can't converse? I have to, like, go over and poke you? Do we give him just the generic English voice for now? I know he's an army dude. I remember that about him. We'll give him kind of a gruff, no-nonsense voice. Good day to you. John Garadeb at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the battle of Maiwan, don't you know? Earned a medal from my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and stairs down. I can tell you, don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yeah, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. It's 2 floors, dude. Jeez. Do some cardio. Exactly. See? Suzato-san gets it. Do you think I don't want to exercise. Everyone rides around on Roombas. Why can't I? Well, Mr. Garadeb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, nothing. Medal's just a folder on, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Ah! Dash it all, woman, be careful. Oh, dearie me. I do beg your pardon, sir. Oh, you jolly took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yeah, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only 2, please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware, so this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know? In this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I've completely recovered from my trauma earlier.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chef's name. Not only my cup of tea, all this detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Ranced magazine here, so...
Hey? No.
Anyway, the chaps investigate the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Saseki-san's room. It's a biley nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. Julio's settling.
Well, we get to talk to you anyway. About Mr. Natsume-san then, Mr. Garrett. Please do tell us.
Oh, yes, Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then.
I have 2 lodges most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. First floor room became available a week ago, you see. There's been... Dash it all, Joe! Do be careful!
Oh, my goodness! I'm terribly sorry, sir.
This is fun.
If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seems to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man has shady written all across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
He did it because I say so. I'm off for tea. Was there anything else that struck you about suspicious about the man at all? Well, yes. Oh, yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us. New conversation option, should have guessed. Had you noticed anything else at all besides, or about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed, full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshelf every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is often long past the time everyone else in the home has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any other than 2 in the morning.
Sounds like me.
Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How did you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh. I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct?
That's right, yes. They're both below us, on the first and street level.
Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed. I'm going to deflect.
Good grief, Joe! Do be careful, woman!
Oh, my goodness, sir. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Just didn't want to answer the question, is all.
Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at about that time? The window?
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looked out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? Also, why is this the only floor that doesn't have bricks in the windows?
5 o'clock's dinner time in the Garab household. Garadab household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seemed unrelated. Well. Yes? Was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time in here there was... Ah! For the love of God, Joe, what are you doing? Oh, dear me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman. Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Oh, yeah, that's totally my name. I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garadeb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of gas! Stop burning me! Joe, dash it all, what's the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. No, yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan? That's right, Mr. Garadeb. What is the matter with these two? These guys are some sussy bakas. It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the event. Evening of the incident. But what? I wish I knew. Mr. Natsume's room. Could you tell us what floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Well, certainly. Just below us on the first floor. And Mr. Holmes is investigating there, even as we speak? Yep. Told me Natsu's name and asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Holmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that would help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Whoops, wrong voice. Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Holmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more, and this time I can get his autograph. Can I do the thing? I can do the thing. Finally a proper investigation, not like the second case where we could go literally 3 places. Now I got a list with a friggin' scroll bar. That's some books. She wasn't lying. What? Just look at this place. It's like he reads or something. Smell it. So musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Where is he? Where is he? I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here. Oh, it's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think. Yep, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. Why do that? So this is where Saseki-san lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Holmes anywhere, have you? Well, he is an expert hider, as we're well aware, so I'm sure he's hanging from the roof or something. No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garadeb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. No? Huh. I guess I'm blind. Look at that little cat down there. Look at all these books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe, for me at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of that pile now will ever be read again. I have a pile of books I'm trying to get through myself, so this is a little bit real. It ain't a pile like that, but yeah. Ah, so reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. Where's Doofus McGee? Oh no, I can't explore this. It's checked off. That book? How about that book? That desk seems to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Saseki-san would sit there and read while stroking his cat. Is that a euphemism? But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tombs, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh, yeah. Saseki-san's name is on it. Look. And the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. Biddly boom. Added to the court record. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in this terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. How could you ever have guessed? Yeah. Hey! Ha! Look, Naruto-san. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? English people just seem to have the ability to turn invisible. That's probably why we didn't see the assailant. It was an invisible person. He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Holmes. Haven't got your autograph yet? Yes. Every time this guy's English accent comes up, I think of the Gollum from Virtue's Last Reward. That's where I'm taking my accent cues from. Oh, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Holmes, we were together on the SS Burya. Yes, of course, the Burya. Let me see what happened on that voyage. It was Kazuma Asogi. He died tragically. But you were a great help to us, kind of, after we corrected all your BS. Oh, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Or it will be after Iris is done with it. Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Holmes. I have very low standards. This is Mr. Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Susie. Yes. Mrs. Naruhodo and Susie. Try the other way around, Mr. Holmes. I lose the first round. I was right, just in a wrong way. In truth, I'd hoped to invite you both back to my Baker Street suit the other day when we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Saseki-san in that short amount of time. I'm afraid the pursuit of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little. It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow at the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of minimal knowledge, you know, from an adventure titled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Holmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room's an apt place to discuss the murky case. Where's my text options? There they are. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Holmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. As I'm saying this, he just goes into this pose here. He's like, yep, proud of myself. Keep telling me about my own accomplishments. Can't stop listening to him. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Soseki-san denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Suzuto, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Susato squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you were under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stupid compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Oh, man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from where they had been purchased. While speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think not Suzuki-san is the culprit then? Soseki-san? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia, whatever. Do not be deceived into believing that I'm a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Mr. Garrideb, the landlord. Tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yeah, Mr. Garrideb, a retired military man. It was the first time I'd ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. And it's the first time I'd ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betokening their social status... sorry? Well, simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Soseki-san has stabbed no one. But sooner or later, as I said. Maybe tomorrow. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Holmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there's a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. See, the answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? No, legitimately, what is that? Surely not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Are you... What? Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Are you actually joking around? Tell me you're pulling my leg. Indeed, disease was rife as a result, so some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Suzaki-san's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. Well, it appears so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Suzaki-san only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. You can't just say that and leave me hanging. Come on. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Haruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? Oh, you remembered that, did you? Well, I made you do it. Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Holmes, Saseki-san didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I'm the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? I was reading books, lad. This guy's got the newest issue of X-Men. Oh yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there's simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. This guy's got a special edition of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Check it out. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Holmes? Tell us. Quit interrupting me. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Girdeb is... Mr. Holmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Yep, repeat myself, I am. Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Back to reading. Naruhodo-san. As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Saseki-san's innocence. No, you're right. I said that sentence all wrong. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Girdeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm going to go read The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. Toodaloo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Alright, done here. I'm guessing we go back here now? Yep, we do. Green text means you done good. Oh, you paragon. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Sherlock Holmes? Ah, yeah, rings a vague bell. Oh, that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Holmes is in his element right now. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Try not to get on my friggin' leg this time. Now then, why don't you tell me what did I just say, woman? For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bloody well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. I ain't done shit, but alright. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with you young foreigners like yourself. Been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Holmes, Mr. Garrideb's hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, maybe we should do some digging. Can I just poke around your apartment even though you're sitting right there? That's not a thing. That's a thing. That's a thing. I wonder what's going to trigger a thing. Do I get to poke around? Doesn't look like they're going to stop us. That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner. Yeah, it's displayed with some pride, I would say, although it bothers me that it's not straight. What? That old thing? Sorry? I should be glad to see the back of it, but the General would turn his grave if I disposed of it. Wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bally thing out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose. Nice try. There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, for distinguished participation. It's a participation medal? Sound like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, and I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge of military circles. Sure thing, buddy. Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put up there deliberately, surely. Yeah, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Ahem, ahem. Busted. Maybe let's not, Miss Susato. Susato-san, I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Ahem, ahem. Ahem, cough. I'm not sure what else we got here. That's a full-size cannon. What's it doing here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. That old thing? It's little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. You never know when the enemy might attack next. It's all useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? There is no such thing as overkill. Be prepared, I always say. You never know when this twisted world is going to throw next to you, boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the bow, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I think. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. I mean, we could examine that. What about the books? I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading? I feel like this is going to be a connection of something. Considering Saseki's room. Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book. Oh, there's a copy of Rance magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, too. The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. That's all we're getting out of that? Damn. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though. An old thing? Not much better than rags, really. I mean, everything here is just an old thing. I just display it because, I don't know. Just don't ask me about it, baka. Oh? Well, that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Your entire place is memorabilia.
Oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. Perhaps I should leave this room because there's nothing else interesting here and you guys suck.
Does something happen if I go out here? Now we're just hunting for stuff. No. Interesting. Maybe I have to present things. I wonder if that's a thing. Let's go back here. Oh. Is Dude-Face McGee not even here anymore? He is not. Do I want to talk to Saseki-san? Do I want to go back here? I don't know. Let's just try places until we find a place that we need to be at. Not here. Let's try those Chivos again. Oh, nope. Let's try the prison. I mean, I'm pretty sure I need to get some sort of letter. Maybe? Oh, here we go. Okay, we triggered it. Green text means good. It seems that we can't meet with Saseki-san at the moment. Oh. He's being briefed about his appearance in court tomorrow, apparently. I see. Yeah, the trial's only a day away. Alright then, let's come back later. Yes. I really hope he's not answering any more questions with inappropriate textbook answers like, yes, I do, like I was doing during the first case, because that was really stupid and it was pissing Psy'Min off. That's a little odd. I can't imagine there's anything waiting for us here. Nope. Back here after that? Nope. Huh. Okay. We're kind of getting to one of those points where we start to run out of things. I don't think Saseki's room is going to matter. What is my... Hang on a second. What do we got here? Okay, that's kind of useless. That's kind of useless. Maybe I have to show my armband to someone. What if I showed that to Garradeb? Would he do anything? Where are we going? Oh, I literally can't. Well, hang on a second. Let's be thorough. Is there anything else? Then we can stick our... Oh, this is relevant. The window looks out over Briar Road where the young woman was attacked. Oh yeah, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene. The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. Does this thing open at all, I wonder? I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir. Sorry? As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you. It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything in the incident then. Okay. That did not really get me anything. Wait. That portrait of Mr. Garradeb is glaring at me, I swear. What, that old thing? That old thing? Is that an old thing? Let me tell you about the old thing. It's just an old thing. Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garradeb as well? Yeah, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well. Yes. Seems to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket. Seemed to come back? What do you mean? The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now that I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need. The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements. Susato-san doesn't pull her punches, or her throws for that matter. I don't really think there's anything here I can get a lot out of. Is that like the last thing left? Just that one thing left on the... Are those mortar shells there? Oh, that's what I'm expecting. Ah, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here?
Hey, want to try out that cannon? Ah, those old things. Now he calls them old things. A couple of little rounds accidentally fired in the barracks during training, you know. You fired them into the barracks. Okay, good job. Became a bit of colorful regiment lore, that incident. You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells? Well, I wouldn't say deliberately, exactly. They're only scrap iron, after all. Usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when things might come in useful, do you? Useful for what, exactly? I'm a hoarder. Do I need to spell this out? Yes, well. Joan here did manage to knock one of the bally things on my foot the other day while she was dusting. Oh, no. Hadn't shed a tear since 1869 before then, you know. Maybe reconsider throwing them away? Alright, we don't trigger nothing by examining all the things. Because we examined all the thing. Wait, one more thing. Oh, wait a minute, was there? I didn't even notice. Was there an option to go to the side? Oh, look. What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand that we can't see because Psy'Min didn't scroll the window over. Lined up, looks more like someone has half demolished them to me. Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garridib's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute, though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally, and it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garridib doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up. How magnanimous of you. I didn't even see this scroll, but... Oh. I was wondering when he was going to show up. I thought he would come in because of us triggering something, but no, he's just hanging his ass out in the living room. As you do. What's he doing over there? I just said, hanging his ass over the living room. Mr. Holmes! Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Goodness gracious! When did you sneak in here? Sherlock Holmes, sir, at your service. Whatever were you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening skies the sun sets, madame. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of boring a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. And one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Aren't I great? Have I mentioned how great I am? Wait, he's not talking about, is he? Wait, is that a Roomba I see? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean, Mr. Holmes? I see the Roomba too. There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. At least I'm not cuffed this time. There's just enough time for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Time to speedrun this minigame. You can tell because of the music. Cue my theme song. Mr. Garridib, though it would seem you're a military man of considerable distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are 2 conclusions that I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of our ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Naruto-san, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems like Mr. Holmes's conclusions are both spot on, for all the wrong reasons, just like always. How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, that is my minigame, I am the king of beasts and bullcrap. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Dun 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 dun. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Don't call it that. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best, a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of the beasts. What's this piffling, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadeb, at Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. Did you listen to a word I said? The fearsome beast we're trying to muck in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Can we go see that now, Naruto-san? Asiatic lion. Aftermath. Mr. Garadeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe position, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man, I simply... But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. It's the cannon, and you shot yourself. Yes, it is this pile of bills that have given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried about 1 last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, it was the cake's fault. Yes, to explain the dire situation and state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. There's no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Everyone knows lions like cakes. Was it, or was it not, once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake. Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. I'm going to get more and more wrong as the series progresses. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. I'm glad you didn't say logic and reasoning because there was none. Look at this guy's face. Ah! What is the matter with you, Joan? You poured this whole hot tea all over me for like the 12th time. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrett. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Mr. Holmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? You're a dumbass. Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it, again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, there's the only explanation for the facts. I can't possibly be wrong. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well, and maybe first? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrett and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you were stuck. I'm not stuck, I'm brilliant. No doubt the former military man held his own against this beast using that large cannon. I thought you said that they sold the lion at the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. Fix this nonsense. I had a feeling this was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Holmes's deductions need. You can do it, sure you can. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know whether or not this is going to help with Natsume-san's case. Still, I'm stuck in a minigame now. Uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again from the beginning of Sherlock Holmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, which it will now be after you correct all my mistakes. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes were uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. It keeps bothering me that they never put a period after Mr. I'm not sure why that is. That's never going to stop bothering me. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by this lion statue, except it isn't. I don't really see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrett's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yeah, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India, or any other kind of lion. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrett's case. That will lead us to the true answer. I have a feeling I know what the answer is. What is the beast that has run rampant? Well, maybe not. Oh, what? It's probably that by pure virtue of the fact that it was hiding. I can't move the camera up and down. I mean, it must be? What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrett's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I have a feeling my throat is starting to go. Hopefully we wrap up and move on from this to the prison, and then we go to the trial, and we have our to be continued. We're sitting at 3 hours. I'm happy with that. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Do I get to do that? Can I do that? I don't know. This might be a bridge too far, but we'll see if this is what we're looking for here. Maybe? Maybe? Yeah! Wild guess. The true nature of the beast that has run amok here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Don't call her that! Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrett. And whilst we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. That's how you describe a newlywed bride? Yeah, that's a sentence that exists now. Indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution will be honored to be described as a beast. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, honored might be stretching a point. Too late. I'm done. I said it. It's a thing now. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrett. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Stop calling her that! Where could this angry creature have disappeared to, madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. I have a feeling I know what the clue might be for this one. I have a feeling we're going to have to angle up. I don't know about fragile. Oh, dear. Anyway, Mr. Holmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garrett anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue to her whereabouts, a clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrett's wife could be. I'm going to guess... Hey... Thought maybe.
Take that!
That works. Your wedding ring gives us a clue. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Stop calling me that. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. for it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrab's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. Nope. You are Mr. Garrab's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrab herself. Oh my word! Well, jolly fine detective, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is my wife, yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally cooker back. Ah, why did I say that? I asked for that one. I earned it. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid as his employ. Yes, here in London one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrab has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrab? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. The raging wife of Mr. Garrab.
I have not been referred to flatteringly yet at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Now, Mr. Garrab, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe position, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm.
Mr. Holmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrab's wife a beast. Brave man he is. He's going to get coffee poured on him later, something fierce. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable.
But Mrs. Garrab is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he?
Oh, how true.
So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Holmes, Mr. Garrab's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify?
So, yeah, we've seen evidence of that a few times when he's been rocking back and forth. So that was given away. I'm assuming that's the answer.
It is the answer.
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel is being revealed by that slapped cheek.
Man, your wife has a huge palm. Good God.
Are you married to E. Honda?
And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame E. Honda.
Is that better than Beast? Let me know if it's better than Beast. I'll use it if it's better than Beast.
Well, yes. You've been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. You've literally been turning the other cheek and just showing us the one. How the blaze... How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. In other words, I have eyes. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once, except now. To keep your other side from view. Well, now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subject to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrab to fly into a rage. Also, she probably had a little bit of meter, too, for that something that hit that hard. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is in this pile of bills that have given rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Holmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yeah, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which could only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrett's wife. Naruhodo-san, she's a person, not a thing. I don't know, have you looked at her? Yeah, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. It's like a 100-hand slap. One so hard it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question, so that I can avoid it. Is it in here? Bookmark, bookmark, bookmark. I can't move the camera up and down. What's this mess? Broken plate. What precipitated the slap? Why can't I? There we go. Couldn't move the camera there. Stack of books. This one's not obvious. I'm guessing it's in here. What's this book say? Let's examine. Oh, never mind. Examination complete. Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, too. Mr. Garrett is clearly an avid reader. Yeah, of some things. Hey, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh, no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look at the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Sazada-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Ah, so I needed to examine that to change it. Alright, now it's obvious. Dude, you're really bad at keeping secrets. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. No, look at her, she's pissed. Would you like a 100-hand slap of your own? I've managed to build some more meter. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Yeah! But I don't know the bally woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I'm inside. Good God. A likely story. Now listen here, Joe, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at the second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you say? That's right. That's what I'm saying. Ah! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite and a 100-hand slap. Ugh. Be careful, I think she's charging back. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack. She was charging back! Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it's you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye set upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. There's no connecting the dots of logic there. But surely Mrs. Garrett didn't eat The carpet? I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying. No, of course not. Maybe. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. I can call her Beast now, right? Oh, absolutely. We've established it. So this is the last part of Mr. Holmes's deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garrett's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. All right, let's see what we can see. Yes. Is it the candle? Was it because there was a fire? Because that would make sense. I can examine the candle, I'm assuming. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Okay, I'm guessing that means we're right. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Whoops, I used the wrong voice. Wait, take a closer look at this. These have been used recently. There's a candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the 3 missing from its holder? I mean... Oh, wait. That's what that is. I was trying to examine that earlier before we talked to Holmes. No. I don't want the carpet. I want the candle. Can I get the candle? The candle. The candle. Not the carpet. The candle. The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Holmes's deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Thinking maybe not. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh yeah, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Maybe it was a fire lion. Let's rethink this with that in mind. Okay, so, I mean... I feel like the answer is fairly obvious here. The candle is sitting right there. That's not a carpet. That's a candle. That's a candle. I'm almost certain that's a candle. Okay, let's assume this is going to explain it. Will this do? Will this be acceptable to the game? It will be. Excellent. Yeah, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remains of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Devoured by a fire, that is. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garrett's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but also his life meter. Wait a minute, that did 40%, what the hell? But on the entire room, the force of a strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room was in flames. For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is one conclusion here. Psy'Min's throat is killing him. I like how his little shoulder thing came loose there. I salute you. Oh, that was so good. That minigame was so good, I fainted at it. We didn't get minigames like that in the military. Nope, that old thing. Alright, I'm guessing we're close to the end here. We probably have to go talk to Saseki one more time, but we'll see. This is dashed long winter nights, you know? Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the passages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material. For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt description. You really shouldn't talk like that while she's standing there with her tea. Here we go again. And the carpet, was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. Whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I like the word bally. I say bally all the time. Bally's a fun word. I was caught between the old Styx rage and the raging flames. You painted torrid pictures, huh? One that would have been most entertaining. Next time that happens, invite me over. I need a good laugh. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture starting to go up as well. The bally everything. This is the bally house. We had to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Garrett. Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. I'm just going to poke around. Don't like it? Fuck you. Got all my favorite novels up in that case, but as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, backed up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books, incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite, book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. Ah yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. That's what you get for marrying E. Honda. Mr. Holmes's deductions turned out to be correct once again. Kind of. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think. So at exactly the same time, as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Well, even more terrifying than the inside, I can assure you. Whole Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dash thing. Oh, really? I actually had a chance to drink his tea. Jeez, after it's been poured 15 times. Mr. Holmes? Yes, Mr. Hardo. What can I do for you? Well, I think we got to the bottom of Mr. Garrett's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? Not a damn thing. Can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I cannot be sure whether a secret would prove to be of relevance or not. Could be a huge waste of time. But it's all good fun, you know. I just knew you were going to say that. Ah, ha, 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 ha. You're an idiot. Now, Mr. Narhoda, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories. Those relevant to the case, and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry. Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh, crap, is that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Saseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. Alright, so that's probably where we're going to wrap up the stream, and that is A okie dokie, fino by mio. I was about to say, I thought there was an extra scene out here. It's time, Naruhodo-san. We must head back to the prison. Yeah, I know. Let's hail a wait a second. Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gyardeb's house. Yeah, these crazies. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. How you call it, old man? You're rum-looking. Nimby-pimby. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fellow, eh? What you on about? Excuse me? Oi, what's the... Here you now. I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. A lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm not like, in a hurry to do something more important or anything. We can just stand around here and waste time with you. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law. I read about it a bit while I was riding on a boat. Fine. I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet. And yes, that is a JoJo reference. Get thee to a nunnery. And that is also a JoJo reference. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? You want to have a JoJo dance-off? You look ridiculous. I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy. Yeah, you just said that. I'm not Horatio also. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here, in the Gyardeb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Gyardeb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a Paulmeister in my battle of words. Ne'er could that be. Sorry, what? Could you talk normal even for the foreign language that we're talking in? Because, my God. Who is the stronger? Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. Do we get to ask you questions? So, fair maiden, so, good gentleman. I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Saseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Gyardeb house certainly is full of eccentrics. Yeah, no shit. Anyway, I'll go find us a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is equally awaiting our return. See, I remember seeing that scene and wondering what was up with those two, and then realizing we don't actually see them for the rest of the game. I am almost certain that at least the fellow with the huge jaw shows up in the next game in some way, because I'm pretty sure I've seen screenshots of him on the witness stand. So, whatever just happened, we're not going to find out anything about it for at least, like, a few cases, well into the next game. So, I'm looking forward to how that gets resolved, because the only thing I know about those guys is what just happened, and what just happened is nonsense. So, moving right along. Getting back to what we were actually doing. Ah, watch out for the ghost! There's a ghost! There's a ghost! There he is! Be quick! Be quick! Twitch, twitch! Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student, Mr. Naruto Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. We're so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no. Think of it. Relax. Someone get me a self-hypnosis recording. Ah! If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nipponese. You used that one already. That's a repeat. I know we've heard that one. Okay, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. That's either a Bobby or it's Holmes. On the other hand, I figured. It is through friendship, transcending international borders, that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. It's you! You're the one that got me arrested. The miserable, rotten spy, Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Holmes, what are you doing here? I'm not done wasting your time yet. It's too much fun. I have no intention of doing anything per se. Say observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Holmes? Now, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Also, you only had the first 3 books of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Do you know what the last 2 are? Have you got them buried somewhere? Really gotta finish it, you know. Gloomful room? Oh, that was him. At least your accommodations here offer a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. Ah, you! How dare you! Herlock Sholmes! I am angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm... never mind. It was a brief install. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come here to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in these accursed lodges. No doubt my luck will be cursed at tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is damned. What are you thinking, Naruhodo-san? I'm thinking I need a goddamn nap. He mentioned this once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there's much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed, for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? I'm cursed. Am I not getting a to be continued? Sasaki-san, what do you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? I know. Why are you looking at me so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean this trial is really cursed somehow, is it? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no! What do you mean? Please, tell me! Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words! No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution ever. 16 words. God, I'm good. That's right. Show me you're impressed. Oh my goodness, can it barely be true? That was 16 words exactly! I've got something here called Ritalin. Do you think you could use it? Yesterday, Naruhodo-san successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. That's why I'm worried about this guy. I don't know. I know for all I know he survives, but, I mean, there's a second game.
Does he just spontaneously combust halfway through trial 2?
Mr. McGill did. What? I'm impressed, Miss Isidore. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Holmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely.
Well, that'd be an interesting story for a serial killer. Kind of like Dexter, but instead of tracking down killers or whatever, it's like, okay, well, you're either going to jail or I'm just murdering you. That's how it is. That sounds like an HBO special. Ah, yeah, funny. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? I could use some of that ruler right now. The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
Of course he is.
Then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Let me give you a new text option so you can find out. Van Zeeks is quite an exceptional man. Van Zeeks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London Court of Law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
That's good. That's good.
Soseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy.
Is that what that face looks like?
As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated.
Yep, we know.
Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage, by any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. Have you ever played Among Us? It's kind of like that. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, and then they get the wrong person voted out, and then we lose the game, and it sucks. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly is from time to time, my dear madam, it is simply the reality of the situation. And that's all right. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape judgment. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
By all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
Oh, no.
All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. That is some wild stuff, my good man.
I knew it. I'm a dead dodo, done for, doomed.
Almost done. When you say cursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garrett's house, I assume.
So you're going to say some stuff that's going to tie into the clown-looking mofo that we saw earlier, and we'll probably be catching up with later.
Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long, then.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing at me, behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside, and they were always staring at me all the time from dawn till dusk.
so I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. Have you tried taking up VTubing? You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. With that kind of anxiety, you'd fit right in. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road, a week ago now. Yeah, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, the room is cursed. Whoops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, if you have something to say, then say it! But if not, don't mention it in the first place! Yeah, well said. But it was true, it was all true! You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole. My sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. I hope all this nonsense I'm spewing is entertaining for somebody. If only there was someone, just one person, on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really no one at all. To believe, yeah, to believe. To believe. I'm going to say to believe some more. Mr. Holmes. Me, Mr. Narhoda. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SSS Burya, if you recall. The Burya. Oh, that case. The one with the snake. The one with the snake killed someone. I remember everything about it. Well, yeah. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. Nope, that was bullshit, but go ahead. And you helped us to investigate. I did that, didn't I? Interesting. Interesting theory, my good boy. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes, you mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Something along those lines? Well, if you like, yeah. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. That's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? I didn't believe in you at all. What the hell are you talking about? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. Oh, we got Kaido Momoda here from Danganronpa V3. Great. What? What do you mean, Mr. Holmes? You thought I was Shuichi? You idiot. I made up my own mind about what is to be believed. I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. That's how I actually play Among Us. I just assume who the imposter is before the game starts, and then I'm right and I win. That's my game strategy. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment. Nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Big nod. I'm done. Kazuma out. You were so right, Kazuma. I assume we're wrapping up. Sherlock Holmes, luminary of the stars. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? You're not invited. You're stuck here. You suck. Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Where's my trout? Is it behind me? Is it ghost trout? I'm not getting trout, am I? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'll bring you some trout. I'd be happy to represent you with some trout. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Why is that your full name all the time? As I said, I've only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday.
I gotta take it easy as a Seki's voice right now. My throat's it's starting to get to the point where we need to rest a bit.
And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
At least I'm not doing Payne's voice. If I had to do Payne's voice for 4 hours, then yeah, Payne would be apt. Oh, ouchie, sorry.
Something crucial? What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe even. But I think I've finally worked it out. I've decided I have to believe in myself above all else. To trust my instincts, to trust my subconscious. Well said. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo-san. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. Guilty people can't dance like that. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me. Including this katana. I'm going to stab a bitch if I need to. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Holmes is just here like,
I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about. Of course, Mr. Natsume.
I know like 6 Japanese words. What's that old joke?
I know karate and like 3 other Japanese words. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end, and I got to see this guy get burned like 12 times. That was funny. Yeah, like that. That's hilarious. I'm going to remember that forever. Wait, who is this guy again? Miss Suzuto. Suzuto-san. Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. I'm pretty sure Shoryuken beats 100-hand slaps, so we're good to go. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believes in me, and Mr. Holmes believes in me too. So it's time that I learn to believe in myself. Saseki-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him to fight in his corner. Or let Susato do it. I'm pretty sure Ryu beats Lee Honda in the meta. I guess we'll find out tomorrow in the courtroom with all the strength I can muster.
All right. It looks like it was a good call to go for 2 rounds right through the other to be continued, because this is a perfectly suitable stopping point, and I'm happy to take it. I'm also happy to go and refill my coffee and get something to drink. Boy, it's a good thing I made up some stew recently, because I could certainly use something a little bit warm in my throat. That's for darn sure. But thank you for watching. If you stuck around for the almost 4 hours of the stream, you are my new favorite person.
And I'm really looking forward to how this turns out. Again, this is not a completely blind playthrough, so I remember a few things about it. Next game will be. That's why I'm looking forward to a lot of questions being answered. But for right now, we will be going into the next stream on... What is it? Let me double check here. I want to double check my schedule here because I do have some stuff going on next week. I believe I'm still doing it Monday, but it's going to be later Monday. I'm going to be streaming later than I usually do because I'm going to be busy. That's the 6th. Oh, yeah, that's a long weekend. Yeah, that's going to be a late night one. That's going to be me staying up pretty late and then sleeping in Tuesday. Because Tuesday I got almost nothing, but Monday is packed, which is really the opposite of how it should be because Monday's a long weekend. But when you're an entrepreneur, there's no such thing as a long weekend. There's no such thing as vacation. You just work. So I'm going to be working on that, and I've also got some things I want to do for the stream here. I mentioned before I was looking into expressions. I actually watched a little tutorial on doing expressions in, with 2D models here, and it's easier than I thought. I just don't know how to trigger them, but it's going to be some interesting stuff. If I'm lucky, I might have something for next week. I will probably have some minor things as I start experimenting. Hopefully on Sunday evening, we're going to be having the chill stream. So if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I'd like to chat a bit more, I'd like to interact, I want to hear this guy's crazy anecdotes about all the stuff he's done with hypnosis over the years, that's the time to do it. Catch me on pretty much any given Sunday evening, and we will be talking about that. Because that is a fun time. That is the chill stream. We will keep going with the story time with Ace Attorney. That's going to be a twice-a-week thing. New hypnosis recording on Tuesday. We've got an interesting one coming up this time where we're going to be inducing a hypnotic hallucination, and that's always fun. And the next Wednesday game, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm toying with a few ideas. There's one game I want to be trying, which I'm not sure I'll be doing then, but... we might be playing, I think it's called The Return of the Obra Dinn, I think the name of the game is. I haven't played that game before, but it's also a story-based game. I want to stay away from those, not necessarily jump into another one while I'm playing this game. Like, I'd rather play something a little more action-y, like Celeste. I'm not too sure how popular those videos are going to be in the grand scheme of things in the long run. How many people are going to enjoy seeing stuff like Octodad or things like that. But I like playing a little short game where I can shoot through it and just have a little action. And I don't know. We're just trying stuff. So, you know what? You need to subscribe. You need to be here. You need to give me your thoughts. Tell me what you want to see. I've got a Steam library with over 1,100 games in it. I'm sure I can find something that's going to entertain somebody. And frankly, there's a lot in here that I've never played, and I would love for the excuse to start. So, stick around, subscribe, watch Twitter for the upcoming schedules so you know when the streams are, so that you can catch me, so that we can talk, because I would love to hear from you and interact with you. We had a couple of people show up today in the chat. That's kind of neat. But regardless, I will see you guys around. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that good stuff. It really does help a lot as far as me growing the channel, and it helps out you because it lets you know when things are happening and lets me know what you want. So, yeah, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Do I promise not to eat your brain while I'm scratching your back? No promises, but you know what? That's not something you really need to think about too much. Anyway, take care. I will see you guys around. Have a great week, and I will talk to you next time.